Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Yashish Dev. I'm an EdTech associate that is with Leader Edutech. I've been really looking forward to this day. I'm joined with my partner for today, Ida. I'll let her introduce herself.
And I'm from Skriware, and today I will join you actually, and I will show you how to use SkriLab.
Okay, great. So me and Ida are actually going to be discussing STEAM education and, more importantly, utilizing the SkriLab by Skriware as an excellent STEAM education resource. So I'm going to go ahead and just introduce the resource to you guys, discuss the different components and how it relates to the STEAM framework, and then Ida's going to go ahead and carry out a demonstration lesson concerning multiplication using a variety of the resources that are available. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys what the SkriLab consists of. So, I mean, my first question is, does everyone in the chat understand what STEAM education is? I know that STEM education is a very popular term, and that's been used for a numerous amount of years, but in the past 16 to 18 months, STEAM education has gained a little bit more popularity. So if you guys can go ahead and maybe type in the chat box what you think that is. I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys the answer, even if you don't know it. So STEAM stands for science, technology, education, arts, as well as math. And the reason why STEAM education is actually very important, oh, there, excellent, now they got the answer correct. The reason why, the E actually stands for engineering, not education. But the reason why STEAM education is important is because we need to fulfill the demands of the future labor market. The labor market from 2030 and onwards is going to look very different from what it does right now. And us as educators and people in the education industry need to look out for our students to make sure that they are prepared for this future labor market. So now I'm just going to go through the variety of resources that are available within this SkriLab that are pertinent to STEAM education. Importantly, the great thing about the SkriLab is that it has a variety of components. So you don't have to kind of pick and choose to create your STEAM education program at your school. The SkriLab consists of all these different resources that allow you to have a holistic teaching experience. So the first relevant resource is the SkriMarket. Now, the SkriMarket is an online website which has 60,000 ready-made models, which students as well as teachers can 3D print directly to the 3D Sprinter. So that moves us on to the next part, which is the 3D Sprinter. And this isn't just like any other 3D printer. It has a specialized software that allows you to overcome some of the slicing issues that are related to 3D printing. So this means that with the SkriMarket and the 3D Sprinter, making 3D printed models is almost as easy as printing a piece of paper. So that's a really good thing about this resource. You won't have any issues actually utilizing the 3D printer and then using that for your lessons. The next portion of the SkriLab is the engineering section. So that is the SkriKit. The SkriKit is a fantastic resource to teach how to construct a variety of things. And the important things about the SkriKit is it isn't very similar to a building block kind of method that you typically see in Lego. It actually has a wrench and a gear, so students have a much better understanding of how to construct structures after they use the SkriKit, because it's very similar to the engineering principles one would use in larger structures in real life. And then moving on to the arts component, you have the Creator Skriware and the 3D Playground. So this is also another component that's part of the SkriMarket. So students can actually log on onto the Screen market, and they can actually make their own 3D models using the cloud-based software. So this is a really, really awesome feature. So not only can the students print something that's already existing on the Screen market, but they can actually make their own creations, perhaps based on a lesson in chemistry. Perhaps they want to recreate a molecule such as H2O. So the 3D playground really allows them to explore that creativity from an artistic perspective. And you also have the creator Skriware. So as I discussed, the Skrikit allows you to construct certain structures. The creator Skriware allows you to construct them in a 3D space. So students can actually do some experimenting in a 3D space before they go ahead and use the Skrikit in real life. And the last component, or the last resource in this entire STEAM program, is the Skribot, as well as the programming environments. So this covers the mathematics segments of STEAM education. So students will be coding robots to either do line following or utilize the variety of sensors that are on the Skribot to carry out various functions. And this really supports a project-based learning environment. So I've kind of introduced all these resources. You can already kind of understand how comprehensive the resource is. But you can have the best robot, the best programming environment, but the way that STEAM education works best is if teachers can implement it in a good way. And that's why all of these resources link back to the Skriware Academy. And the Skriware Academy is essentially an e-resource for teachers to carry out their STEAM education lessons. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what the Skriware Academy looks like. So this is a resource specifically just for teachers. And it has 3 important sections. One is related to projects. The next is related to individual lessons. And the last are various categories if you have any questions regarding the resources or the kits or allied resources that are also used in the lessons. So let's say you wanted to carry out a project on 3D printing. All you would have to do is click over here as the educator. Then you would get what the relevant age groups are, which resources you're going to be using from the ones I've described, what the subject matter is. So this is relevant to design, technology, and computer science. And then you have the number of lessons. So in this particular project, you have about 10 lessons that are relevant. So you could perhaps even out these lessons over the course of 10 weeks and have a 10-week course on 3D printing. And what really makes the Screwbar Academy amazing for teachers is that it does a lot of the work for you. You have ready-made lesson plans. So all you would have to do is click this. It gives you the relevant activities, how long those activities last, what you'll be doing in those activities, what you'll be asking your students, and basically how to conduct an effective lessons. So it already has an effective pedagogy set out. You also have some lesson summaries. You have ready-made student worksheets. So these support your lessons. All you would have to do is print these out and hand them out to your students, and you can get your lesson going relatively quickly. And then lastly are these ready-made PowerPoint slides. So again, the purpose of the Screwbar Academy is to make the implementation of STEAM education very, very simple. And it's to limit the amount of preparation time teachers are doing. So then you can actually focus on carrying out the effective education. So that's kind of an overview of all the resources. And most importantly, the Skriware Academy, which is an excellent e-resource for teachers to help support them when introducing this type of education. So I think that's my part. Now you guys have a brief introduction of what the Skriware ecosystem is. I'll let Ida actually carry out a demonstration lesson utilizing the resources I've discussed.
Thank you, Yash, for introducing our SkriLab. I wouldn't do it better. So yeah, that was really nice of you. What do you say? And yeah, I want to continue. But first of all, I don't know if you wonder why did we choose multiplication for today's webinar. It's because multiplication is a really important process in learning math, in process of learning math, because without multiplication, without knowledge about multiplying, you cannot go further with math. If you don't know and if you don't understand multiplying, you will not be able to understand, for example, the fractions. If you don't know how to multiply, you won't be able to go with geometry. So the multiplication process is really important, and that's why we choose it for today. And just a little bit story from actually my own childhood when I was at second grade, and the teacher tried to taught us how to multiply. Mm, and they told us, oh, come on, it's the same but adding. So if you have 3 times 4, you can just add 4, then 4, then 4, and it equals 12. It's the same what's adding. And I was like, okay, that's easy. And later at school, I was like, okay, but it's not the same. And what you have to know and what you have to be aware of, that multiplying and adding are not the same. And it's because the opposite of adding is subtraction. But the opposite of multiplying is not subtraction, it's division. So now you can see that multiplying and adding are two completely different processes. So yeah, what about multiplication more? If you're aware that it's not adding and it's actually not a good idea to teach your kids just learn the table of multiplication by heart and tomorrow will be exam from that. That's not the best idea, and there's a place for using our SkriLab. I will show you this first component of our SkriLab. It's Skrikit, and Yash mentioned it before that you can use it to build something. It's kind of Lego bricks, but not so much. So just let me change the camera, and I will show you what's inside. So yeah, we have the Skrikit, and I have the parts of it. So yeah, as you can see, we have some tiles, we have some screwers, and this yellow little part. You have 2 keys to help you with the screws, but today we will focus only on those white tiles. So just let me clean the rest of the Skrikit. I will leave the tiles here. Yeah, and we have those tiles, and how we can use them to teach kids how to multiply. It's easy. When you have these tiles, you can see that there's a lot of holes in them. So basically, you can count them. So for example, on this tile, you can count the holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's simple one, just one row, but we want to multiply. So if we will take bigger tile, for example, this one, we can actually say that we have 2 rows, 1, 2, and we have 3 columns. So 1, 2, 3. So if you ask kids how much is 2 times 3, they can easily count. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 times 3 equals 6. And you can, of course, do it on bigger tiles like this one. So we have 3 columns, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So again, what result will be if we will do 3 times 5? of course, we know it's 15, but when the kids are learning this, it will be easy to them if they don't know how to count it. Okay, so we have 3, 1, 2, 3 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's 15. It will be really understandable for them because they can see that, they can touch it, they can count it, they can do whatever they want to with it. With this, you can ask them to build something from this cricket and then just write down the results of multiplying. And when the kids are familiar with those tiles, when they understand the process of multiplication, when they already know everything, you can go a step further. So to keep them occupied. So because when you do something too long, it's begin getting boring, and the kids are like, oh, okay, we know it already. Just give us something new. And of course, you can do it with this cricket. My proposition for another exercise with cricket is ask your pupils to organize them, but not by size, but by the results of multiplying on those tiles. So, for example, we have, so I will take this one, and for example, we have those 2 tiles. And for the first side, this one looks a little bit bigger because it's higher, it's longer. So if you will ask pupils to sort them by size, probably they will say that this one is smaller and this one is bigger. But if you ask them to sort those tiles not by size, but by the results of multiplication on specific tiles, you will know that this one equals 8 and this one equals 9. So they are actually in this way. This one is smaller and this one is bigger. And you can ask them to do that with all tiles. For example, those 2. You can see 2 times 2, and here we have 1 times 5. So this one is bigger than this one. And when they are familiar with this, when they organize the tiles by the results of multiplying, not only by the size, and you are sure that they know it, that they didn't learn it by heart, and they don't know it just to memorize it and just to pass the test, but they really understand the process of multiplication, you can go further. So now I will introduce you the other parts of our SkriLab, the other component. It will be Skribot, and just let me change the camera one more time. Yeah, so I have the Skribot here, and as you could see, he was joining me from the beginning of our webinar. I really like him. And I will tell you what are the parts of our Skribot and how to use it. And of course, I will show you the basic application for that. But first of all, as you can see, we have LEDs, we have sensors, and actually it's really interesting because those yellow sensors are the distance sensors, and they are working like bats. So they are sending the signal and they are reading when the signal is back. But the other kind of sensors are here, and we call them line sensors, but actually they read the color of the ground that the robot is moving on. We have gripper here, and on the back of the robot here we have engines, here, those 2. And actually the most important thing of our Skribot is underneath this yellow shell. I will open it for you. And as you can see, we have whole computer here. So I will show you this on the second camera to get closer. As you can see, we have a lot of wires here, and it looks a little bit complicated, but I assure you it's not. It's really easy, and if you build a Skribot with the instruction, we will know everything about that. So I will close my shell now, not actually not mine, but the Skribot shell now, and I will change the camera. And what can we do with that? To move our Skribot, you can do both things. First, you can program it in computer, in Arduino or Ardublocks. But the easier and more basic way to work on the Skribot is to use our app. And I will show you how this app works. You are seeing the app right now on the screen, I hope. And we have these three things: Arena, My Program, and Tasks. And on the right corner, on the top, you have this little one icon of our Skribot. So you go there, and yeah, he asks you to pair. So you have to turn on your Skribot. It's on the back. You can see it in the corner, in the little screen of me. You can turn the Skribot on. Then you choose Start Pairing. Put the phone close to Skribot, and it's done. So before first use of SkriLab it is good to calibrate the engines. So as you could see, I just choose the little icon one more time on the right corner. Then I have three options here: disconnect, rename, or calibrate. And of course, I will be interested in calibrate. So we go to calibrate. And then you can calibrate two things. Today it will be engines because we need the robot to move. So we choosing engines, and that's the screen which is showing to us. And now we have to choose test. The robot will go forward and stop. And if it's working good, you have to save it. If it's not, probably you can change the wires or just go off and on with Skribot, or turn the app off and then turn it on. But usually after the calibration, it should be working. So when we have Skribot, it's on, it's connected to app, and we know that the engines are calibrated. Now we can move to our exercise, because don't forget, we are still about multiplication. So what I prepared for you is another exercise. So you're supposed to see the mat right now. I will try to set it like that. Yeah, so I think it's visible now. And actually, as you can see, I just printed the part of table of multiplication. So I have only few results of multiplying. And of course, you can do the same. You can just print it and cut it and just be like that. But you can ask your pupils to do it, or you can do a whole project about multiplication, and then one part of this project will be preparing those cards. You can do them by yourself with pupils. You can ask anybody to help you. It's whatever you like, or whatever you like. And the first exercise, we will be using our Skribot. As you can see, I just put those results in the part of table of multiplication. So they are organized, they are sorted by equals. And of course, you can do the same. You can just put the table of multiplication on the floor or in your classroom or on the tables. But you can actually hide them, like one result beneath the chair, one beneath the table, one under the desk. So it depends on you. And the first exercise is just to ask the kids to find the results and go with Skribot there. So you have to move the Skribot on the results, but of course, this would be too easy. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna use our app. So, and now we have, it looks a little bit like remote, but if your pupils play on, I don't know, PlayStation or Xbox or anything else, they will be familiar with this. And it will be really easy for them. So you can just move the Skribot using this remote. So we have right engine, left engine, you can move forward or backward with the Skribot. And for example, if you will ask the pupils, oh, how much is 4 times 5? They have to find the results and go there with Skribot. So I'm looking for the results here. So I have 2 results, 20. I have this one and this one. So I will choose one of them and go with Skribot there. So I have to yeah, so my Skribot is on the results, multiplying 4 times 5. And that was easy. I have the table in front of me, I don't have it farther, or I can see all the results. But if you will play with your pupils, if you hide it, or if you ask them to do something more, it can be a really joyful lesson for them. And again, if it will be too easy, if it becomes, oh, it's boring, give us something new, of course you can do it. How? When we will be in the app, we can choose not the arena mode, but my program mode. So it will be here. And it looks a little bit more complicated, and actually it is. So I would recommend it for a little bit older kids. Then if you're just starting the multiplication table, you don't have to go to my program mode. Arena mode will be enough. But if you want to do something extra, if you want to connect math and arts and programming, you can do it. Because remember, as Yash mentioned, we are all about STEAM education. So we are all about connecting the dots, connecting all the subjects to one lesson to keep kids occupied, to keep them interested in the subject we are talking about. So going back to the app. To program your robot with this mode, you have to, first of all, you have to add a new program. So on the left down corner, you have those little plus. I will choose it. Then you can choose new program, and you can, of course, name it whatever you like. I will just call it webinar, because why not? And go to programming. Here I have blank area to set my program. And why did I recommend it for a little bit older kids? It's because our Skribot, it doesn't have those comments like, okay, go forward for like 50 centimeters or anything else. It has only time. So what I have to do is first to find the distance, and only then I can do all the program. So, for example, when I have my Skribot and I wanted to find the results like 4 times 6, so it will be easy, it's 24, it's here, and I want the robot to move. And if I will just put this program, so it will be going for 1 second, with 100% speed, look what will happen. Yeah, the Skribot went only for 1 second. So you have to find the right amount of time to ask him to go farther. So it was 1 second. I think I will give him, I don't know, 3.5, and we will see what happened then. Oh, it wasn't enough. It's on 30, and we know that 4 times 6, it's not 30. So we have to ask him to go a little bit longer. So not 3.5, but maybe 4. And just look what will happen. No, again, it was too short. So one more time. I will ask him 4.8, and now it should be quite all right. Yeah, it's on 24, and now we have Skribot on the results we wanted. So as you could see, you can use SkriLab not only to do the lessons from the academy, you can do with that whatever you like. If you want to do some art classes with Skribot, you can ask the Skribot to actually grid the crayon and do something. If you want to learn them how to multiply, you can use, of course, those exercises I recommended to you. But if you want, you can go with something really new and only from your head, and it actually depends from you. And as Yash mentioned, on the academy, you can find lessons just to do. You go there and you have your lesson, but feel free to use only part of it, only part of the lesson, only part of the presentation, because what's the most important in SkriLab is to keep kids occupied, but also to make it easy for you. I hope you liked my exercises I showed you today, and I hope you will use them soon. And of course, if you do, just let me know how it goes, how it went. We will be in contact with Yash. And Yash, I think that's all from me.
Thank you so much for that, Ida. That was a very, very good explanation. And the reason why I love the SkriLab is because you can move between the various resources so easily. And one point I didn't mention thus far is that SkriLab and Leader Edutech have been in partnership since August of the last year. So we're currently acting as a distributor for majority of the countries within this region. So if you feel that the SkriLab is something that could be of interest to your school or to your STEAM program, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at our help desk email, which is currently in the chat. And since we've completed most of the points that we wanted to touch on today, I think we can move on to the Q&A. So please don't hesitate to drop any questions there. We focus on STEAM education resources, but we also focus on designing STEAM labs. So that's why we love to work with Skriware. That's actually one of our recommended resources for maker spaces or STEAM and innovation labs. So yeah, and Skriware is from Poland as well. We had the opportunity to see them at the Polish Pavilion here at Expo. So that was a really, really great opportunity at Children's Day.
Skriware, education today.